be living in this house next year. As the presidential race continues, the public's demand for answers is high. We want to know what will come of federal funding for the organization known as Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood's mission statement states that the center believes in the fundamental right of each individual throughout the world to manage his or her fertility regardless of the individual's income, marital status, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, age, national origin, or residence. In recent years, Planned Parenthood has struck upon plenty of controversy regarding federal funding and where funding gets distributed. Due to many different factors, such as moral and religious beliefs, many different viewpoints have been established regarding the federal support of this private business. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, what kind of services does Planned Parenthood actually provide?
They provide health screenings, birth control options, STD screenings. I think one of Planned Parenthood's biggest goals is education. So I really feel like they do a great job of educating today's teens and getting information out there for them.
We went around our community to hear various people's thoughts about government support of Planned Parenthood and their opinion on the services provided.
I think Planned Parenthood is awesome, and it doesn't just fund abortions like a lot of people would have you believe. Republicans are voting to take all this money away from Planned Parenthood. Since there are no federally funded abortions, what they're actually doing is limiting women's access to health care and preventative testing and cancer screenings and all that other good stuff.
I don't think that they do mammograms. I know that that's something that people say Planned Parenthood does a bunch of other things like mammograms, but I don't think that's actually a service they provide. I'm Catholic, so the abortion thing's not good for me.
Because I've worked in the field of prevention, I know that the services Planned Parenthood offers to women who can't afford anything else far exceed the numbers of abortions that are maybe done.
It is an extremely important thing in our society and community. I believe in Planned Parenthood. I think it helps a lot of people.
I don't know if I fully support Planned Parenthood. I believe that God brought that baby for a reason, and maybe it's for another family, like an adoptive family who can't have a baby on their own. In situations where it's a scared, like 15-year-old, where they don't know what to do with the baby and they don't have a way to support it, that it can be a good thing.
I personally am opposed to abortion, but I cannot make that judgment for anyone else. Everybody makes their own decisions.
I had a friend who used Planned Parenthood when I was in high school. She was really low income and she was a disabled person, and her mother had some health issues, and so the only way that she could get birth control was to go to Planned Parenthood.
Offered one of my friends a free pregnancy test, and so she went there and they offered support and a way for her to find out if she really was pregnant.
I've known quite a few young women who have had health issues, and the only place that would treat them would be Planned Parenthood. So I think we need to look at the broader view of what the services are and not believe some of what we hear.
Who came over here from Africa, who accidentally got pregnant and didn't know where to go, what to do, and because of her status as a student, she was able to get all of the recommendations to have a situation. She attributed a infection during the situation and had to receive an abortion, or it would have killed her to have the child. So they helped her. They actually saved her life.
I think that the federal funding should be continued with Planned Parenthood, especially for people with low incomes that can't afford that regularly.
I think that since the U.S. doesn't usually federally fund private businesses, this one really shouldn't be an exception, especially since there are private hospitals run by other institutions that aren't being funded who are being threatened because they don't offer abortions there. So I think that that would be kind of silly for them to fund the place where they offer abortions but then not the places where they don't.
Should Planned Parenthood get federal funding? I don't believe that nonprofits really need to get federal funding. There's other sources of funding and also contributions from those who benefit from the services and who want people to benefit from the services. So I think some of the controversy would go out of the whole thing thing if there was not federal funding for Planned Parenthood and some other nonprofits that don't need to really seek that bit of money.
The United States should triple the funds for Planned Parenthood instead of cutting funding and making a big controversy out of it when it has worked fine for the last many, many years. It deserves more attention and deserves more professionals and deserves more outreach towards communities and the folks that need their help.
The Reconciliation Act would also effectively defund Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood uses both federal and non-federal funds to provide a range of important preventative care and health services, including health screenings, vaccinations, and checkups to millions of men and women who visit their health centers annually. Long-standing federal policy already prohibits the use of federal funds for abortions, except in cases of rape or incest or when the life of the woman would be endangered. By eliminating federal Medicaid funding for a major provider of health care, H.R. 3762 would limit access to health care for men, women, and families across the nation and would disproportionately impact low-income individuals.